Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. We are extremely pleased that we are here. It is co-creating at its best. You are knowing what you are wanting. Have you figured out how to let that in? Have you figured out how to not be a vibrational mismatch to your own desire? It takes some practice, doesn't it? But that really is what deliberate creating is all about, and it really is what living happily ever after is all about. It's about life causing you to identify new desires. You can't even slow that down. New desires are at an all-time height in all of civilization, in all of humanity, in all that we know as all that is. You are out here on this leading edge in this magnificent time and space, and you are individually and perfectly being inspired to new desire with all things that you observe and with all things that you experience and with all things that you participate in. It causes a focus within you that you can't stop. You can't even really slow it down that much. There's a current or an energy. There's a fulfillment of purpose. There is a you being you in this physical body. And what is happening around you, inspiring within you new desires, new calling forth of life force and energy in order to accomplish those desires that are being born within you. And so, never before have we witnessed an explosion of personal desire as is happening in this new time. It truly is a new beginning, a time when your exposure to life is causing an eruption within you of what you think about things. And that's what each of you knew when you decided to come into this physical body. You knew you would be inspired. And you also knew that once the inspiration of the new idea was born, once there was a vibration that became more noticeable to the point that you were thinking about it, and once it was more noticeable to the point that you were speaking about what you were thinking about, you knew from your non-physical vantage point coming into this physical body that there would be manifestations that would be the result of all of the thoughts that you were thinking. And you knew you were coming into variety, into contrast, into differences. And you knew the benefit of that for yourself. So here you are with all kinds of things being inspired within you. And now what we're about as we're interacting with you is to remind you that this was all your intention, and to remind you that those desires cannot help but be born within you, and to remind you that your inner being and the source within you is aware of the desires that are being born within you, and to remind you that you are a vibrational being living in a vibrational world, and that everything that is manifested so far, whatever you can see, whatever you're reading about or hearing about, even if it just happened today, it is so past tense that it really does not deserve as much of your attention as you are giving it. Because by the time something manifests, there's been a long stream of energy that has been flowing toward it. And the manifestations, all of them, every one of them, no matter what they are, every one of them is the inevitable result of the mix of energies that has been flowing. We want to help you sort out a little bit today how thoughts are turning to things, how the vibrational nature of your being can be deliberately directed. And most of all, how you can rediscover, how you can return to the satisfaction that life is meant to provide for you. Satisfaction is the best word that Esther can find when we offer a vibration that means this: the balance between who you really are, who you were before you came into this physical body, and who that non-physical part of you has become since you've been in this physical body. That vortex part of you, that inner being part of you, that expanded, evolved whole of you. That feeling of satisfaction is when that whole of you, that who you really are of you and who you're being in this moment, meaning what you're thinking about, what your beliefs and thoughts are, when those vibrations blend, when there's harmonics between you and you, that's satisfaction. When your desire is not doubted by you, but understood by you. When your desire is something that you are feeling now and patiently in anticipation of further and further expansion, evolution, and growing and becoming of it. But if you have a desire and you are looking at the evidence of the absence of your desire, then you are not feeling satisfaction. You are feeling something far less than satisfaction. And that emotional guidance is letting you know about the one and only thing that really matters to you. And that is the blending of you and you. The blending of you and you. Because you did not decide to come forth into this physical body as a sort of renegade who would not blend with the whole of you, who you are. You did not say, I'll go forth and I'll remember nothing of my own clarity. You didn't say that. You said, I am clear. I am pure positive energy. I am love. And this love will be embodied in my physical embodiment. And I will go forth into the perfect environment of perfect contrast. And from it will be born within me a clear distinction of what I prefer, a clear desire of what I prefer. And I know you said this. We heard it. We said we would remind you. I know that once any desire is born within me, no matter how broad or narrow, no matter how deep it is, no matter how it is deemed to be by others who perceive me having this desire. Every desire, big or small, is understood by the non-physical source of that which is you. And you knew the source energy would back you up in all of your desires. Further, you knew you were not coming forth into a physical environment of competition because you knew that you were equal in terms of your access to this energy that creates worlds. And you knew that someone else's utilization of the physical environment to inspire their desire and then their alignment with and utilization of energy to accomplish whatever they are accomplishing, you knew that no matter how many others were utilizing this energy that creates worlds, that would not constitute any deprivation for you or anyone else, because you knew that the energy comes forth in order to support the desire that you have managed. And so we want to bring you to the place, by the time we come to the culmination of this gathering today, we want to bring you to the place, if you are willing, of feeling and understanding, of really knowing the power of your own focus and the importance of your own personal satisfaction. The satisfaction factor is the best way of describing how you utilize the laws of this universe. So we are eager to talk with you about anything that matters to you. Nothing is off limits. Nothing is off limits. It is our desire, not only with those of you who will sit here and we will play with, but it is our desire with each of you that you will soften any resistance to any desire that you hold. Soften any resistance. In other words, the doubt fades while the interest grows. The doubt dissolves while the knowing replaces it. And the result of that is satisfaction. The result of that is a feeling of love, but love is another word that we can't say to you very much because every time we say it, you think we mean what you mean. We don't use the word God either because you've got that all sort of mixed up. There are so many things that you perceive that we understand why you perceive them because you've been basing your perception on watching the behavior of others and even the behavior of yourself. But again, we want to emphasize that's old news. How anything is happening, how anything is behaving, what's going on anywhere with anyone is old news. So whenever you look at old news, do you know what old news is meant for? Old news is intended by you to be the bouncing off place to the new idea. Because it is the new idea in the making that is the greatest satisfaction of life. To have an idea of something that you desire and not be killing it with your doubt is the most delicious state of being. And then to witness universal forces, call it God force if you must. Universal forces joining with your flowing of energy toward the gathering of the cooperative components for the results that you seek in terms of manifestation. Please understand, we are not in any way trying to divert your attention from manifestation. You came for manifestation because you are creators, and manifesting into physical form is the most delicious, most extended version of creation. You're not here without that which is non-physical. All that is non-physical is here with you on this leading edge, enjoying your manifestations. But non-physical is enjoying your manifestations in the making, while you are so often yearning for them to come out where you can see them. It would be paramount to putting a kernel of corn in the ground with your knowledge that if it is tended to, that it will become that full plant with ears of corn that you can then harvest and enjoy. But you're stomping on the kernels of corn so often, demanding that they come out before you have allowed them the season, the tending, the nurturing, the natural evolution and expansion of the desire. And we want to help you to feel the satisfaction factor in standing in the absence of the manifestation, but the knowledge of its becoming, so that you don't have to see it in order to believe it. You believe it because you know the process. You believe it because you understand your worthiness. You believe it because you believe in the goodness of all that is. You believe it because you have this knowledge that is coming forth from within, and because you have been practicing the art of allowing for a little while. Even though you can't see it, you believe it. And then you'll see it. But if you demand that you must see it before you believe it, then you're going to be stuck in this dissatisfaction mode. And that is the reason that we are here visiting with you. We think you should be happy all day, every day. It is our knowing that you are pure positive energy, and we know the eagerness with which you came forth into this physical experience. And if in any moment of time you're not feeling satisfied, joyful anticipation of things that are unfolding, then that means you're pinching yourself off from the part of you that we are referring to as your inner being, who is right here enjoying this process of unfolding. You cannot separate yourself from your inner being and what your inner being knows and feel good at the same time. And your inner being knows everything that you have sifted and sorted through the knowing what you don't want and knowing what you do want, and the launching of the rockets of desire into this vibrational reality. Your inner being is there with you relative to all of those things. There is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. But if you could just not care about the manifestations as much as you feel about the satisfaction, the feeling of satisfaction as your creative juices are flowing, it would be like a sculptor who is so much more adoring the process of creating the sculpture than the sculpture that has been created. It's the process that gives you life, you see. And you gotta sort of kind of know that, because every time, haven't you noticed, every time you ask for something and line up with it and it comes, isn't it very short-lived satisfaction in terms of it? Aren't you often running on something else again? Didn't your parents say to you, you're never satisfied? And they didn't mean that in a good way, because they thought that they were the vortex through which you thought all your good could come. And sometimes you thought that too. In other words, your parents weren't misunderstanding you completely. Isn't it a nice thing when you get it, that you have the ability and the right and the worthiness? That's the part that we're going to work on with you a little bit today. The worthiness to allow the natural unfolding of the cooperative components assembling to give you anything and everything that you want. And we think that before we're finished today, you'll be as enthusiastic about the process of unfolding as we all are about your process of unfolding.